Is artificial intelligence an aid or a threat to content creators? Here is a description for the Dramaton artificial intelligence system. Dramaton is from DeepMind, which is the AI research company owned by Alphabet, the parent company of Google. And it says here, Dramaton is a system that uses large language models that could be useful for authors for co-writing theater scripts and screenplays. Dramaton uses hierarchical story generation for consistency across the generated text. Starting from a log line, Dramaton interactively generates character descriptions, plot points, location descriptions, and dialogue. These generations provide human authors with material for compilation, editing, and rewriting. It continues and says, Dramaton is conceived as a writing tool and as a source of inspiration and exploration for writers. To evaluate Dramaton's usability and capabilities, they engaged 15 playwrights and screenwriters in a 2-hour-long user study session to co-write scripts alongside Dramaton. So interesting there. AI is also making inroads in the realm of art. Here are some AI-generated images of elephants that just require a written description on the OpenAI art website in order to generate the images. So these have been all the rave on social media. But what about the threat? Joining us to discuss further is Douglas Kendyson. He's the founder and CEO of Selar, which is an online platform for creators. Douglas, thank you so much for joining us, and good morning to you. If artificial intelligence can create art, thanks for joining us. If we can create art, write scripts, create music, I mean, then surely human creators of the types of which you support or your platform, aren't they under threat?
No, I don't think so. I think when it comes to creation and creating products that actually do well, there's a very big uniqueness plays a very big role. And you could spend a lot of time, and yes, there are a lot of generic things that do well in the box office, and if we're just speaking to like music, but there's still a lot of uniqueness that needs to come, and and with AI, a lot of the work that is done is creating from what has already been created, and that's generic, that gets redundant. And I like the description there, because even if someone generates something, there still needs to be a human that like puts in the work to refine it and make it better. So I don't think creators are going to be redundant in this case. And the best case is to think of AI as supporting creators to actually maybe produce things faster if possible.
Okay, so as far as going forward, with creators being able to survive in a world where machines are taking up some of these jobs, you're saying that there isn't a threat? Because, I mean, look, if you are hiring script writers for a movie or a television series, and there is software that exists that can already do that function. Now, I understand you're already saying that it's taking bits and pieces from what's already out there. But with Dramaton and with OpenAI, you can literally put in a prompt. I mean, those images of those elephants that we're looking at, that was, all I have to do is go in and describe what I want. If I want one eye of the elephant to be larger, or if I want it to be this color, and it generates it and creates it. So you're absolutely sure that there is no threat to existing human talents, that it can be taken over by this software?
No, I don't think so. In thinking about this, an example, and I hope this example is not too bizarre. There's a breakout show from 2020 called I May Destroy You. It features the creator of the show is Michaela Cole. I think there's a lot of content on sexual assault. It's a show that really explores sexual assault from so many like layers. And even at that, there's so many shows that discuss sexual assault, but no show, she rewrote that draft 191 times, and it won so many awards because of how nuanced the conversation is. And even if you can have AI write something, I think humans are going to still be the good arbiter of taste. I think I would also liken this to like the music industry, because there's the generic idea of like industry plans where you can take a sound from someone that is good and then maybe have another person reproduce it, and it's just not going to be the same. So yeah, all those things can come out, but there's still going to be like room for individuality And I think individuality is still a very big part of like art and creation. There's still going to be uniqueness. And I think what's going to happen here is humans are just going to be the best people to refine them, because that's even how AI works today. It system generates something, somebody reviews it and then makes it better and all of that. So I don't think the jobs are going to go away. I don't think it's a very big threat. I think it might help a lot of things come out faster, but I think at the end of the day, a human still has to put in the prompts for these things, and and someone has to come up with a good idea that the AI has to generate, and I think that plays a big role.
If I was to ask you if you think whether creators should consider software development as a side hustle, what would you say?
I think no. No, definitely not, because there's so much, and I mean, I'm sorry if I'm laughing about this, because I think there's so much thought, nuance, life experiences that goes into creating any kind of product. And if we even want to go outside like creation, there's still distribution, there's still marketing. So the business of creation is not just even in creating the product. So I think creators are going to be very fine, provided they work on being unique, provided they work on their individuality, provided they work on their personality. Because even today we see, like, there's a product on Selar that maybe says like, oh, how to use Google Forms, and that's something you could find on Google, but someone is making a class for like a 2,000 naira or something. And the reason people go for that is because they feel they can connect to that, and that's something I don't think AI is going to have in the next couple of years. There's still going to be need for individuality, the people, and the human connection, and that's stuff that you just can't replace at the end of the day.
If we weren't talking about artificial intelligence right now, what would you say, if this was a completely different conversation, what would you say are the challenges that creators are facing in 2023?
You ask some creators, they'll tell you they have funding issues. You ask some creators, they tell you they have access issues. I think and this is just going to be a very rudimentary problem that is affecting everybody now. As a creator, let's say you create a product, you want to market it, and maybe you want to pay for ads, or you want to do something, and something as basic as our cards are not working on international platforms. That's a very big issue, because a lot of creators work online now, and if there's still payment issues, or there's still all of this, that kind of affects our ability to compete on a global scale. I think the work we do at Selar sort of helps with selling globally, but there's still a lot of issues with like international payments, even just an embargo for Nigerians as being fraudsters. That's still an issue, but we are hoping that, I guess, as time goes by and as more credible people sort of take the limelight for creators, it sort of helps the impression that people have of us.
Are creators getting enough government support in your view?
No, definitely not. I mean, I think the government can definitely do more. So Sweden is known for its impact on music today. And that's just because in Sweden, like, the government has a lot of like programs for like Swedish thing for music. And I think as we advance as a country, there needs to be more work that the government does for helping creators do more work. So I think an example is, I am not 100% sure of this fact, but I think the Ebony Life program is a little funded by the government, or at least supported by the government. And that's good, because it helps like with like the film and movie industry, which is already booming. And it'd be nice to see that like spread across like other sectors at the end of the day. Yeah.
What does one go to be creative as far as learning? Can it be learned at all, or is it just natural talent that has to be there and then be refined?
I think there are two ways to think about it. So there are people with like the natural flair. And again, even like I think if I could tie this back to the conversation on the business of creation, you can draw doesn't mean you're going to be a successful artist that commands the big bucks. You have to like learn to like command, you have to learn the business of like art. You have to also maybe learn better techniques. And there are obviously always schools for that. So there would always be, so I think there are definitely schools for different like skills and honing your craft. Even like the skill of like maybe acting or singing, even like an artist that is good at singing, you need to do your voice training to like be better. And all those things, I guess, play a big, and that matters too. So there's schools for this.
What about mentorship when it comes to creators? We talk about this in investment banking and in other fields where you can, have a mentor in a particular field that shows you the ropes, and is that in the creators economy? Can creators be mentors to a new generation, or is it basically a self-help thing where you just have to go learn it yourself if you don't already have the talent?
Both. So it's both, because on one layer, with a lot of like creative endeavors, most people are creating their own parts. So most people are doing things that never just have been done before, creating industries that have just never been like that before. So you can almost never really find a mentor that sort of has a mirror of your career. And as well as there are also still a lot of people that mirror your career. So I think, yes, we can mentor the next generation of creators, but I think it's also important to note that just like any other like mentoring industry, nobody's ever going to have the exact thing that you want, maybe A to Z. And you most likely will find someone that can help and maybe pick out the good things you want from them. Let's say they're good at A, they're good at B, they're good at C, and then do that. So yeah.
All right, what is the next big thing for the creator ecosystem? What's your outlook? What if it's not, since we're parking AI to the side, what's big for creators? What do you think needs to be focused on and to push it forward?
I guess there are a lot. One thing I would like to see, I think, over the next couple of years is I would just love to see more local players playing internationally. I think platforms play a big role in this. And I guess we're already like a globalized like world today, but I think I would love to see just more African creators reaching every part of the earth. And I think we have that with the internet today, but I think more skill can be reached for creators everywhere in the world. Yeah.
Great stuff. Great conversation. Douglas Kendyson, founder, CEO of Selar. Thank you so much for joining us on the Global Business Report to talk about the creative economy. Lots of excitement there. Thank you so much for your time.